Rev up your engines! Okay, today I'm going to talk about Volkswagen's biggest seller, which is the Tiguan. Everybody knows I'm not a Volkswagen fan. So the first thing I asked the owner is, why did you buy a Volkswagen? Because he grew up in Serbia. In Serbia, lots of people drive Volkswagens. You can get parts, mechanics know how to fix them, and they're not the Volkswagens we buy here. For example, this one was made in Mexico. The stuff that he was driving there, probably all made in either Germany. There are other European countries that make it, but definitely he wasn't driving Mexican Volkswagens in Serbia. These are the biggest sellers in the United States. For example, he bought this in COVID. You think you're going to pay a lot? He bought this thing for $26,000 brand new. We call it compact SUV because everything in America is gigantic, right? In Europe, they see it as a relatively big car, but here we see it as a compact SUV. But it is Volkswagen's biggest seller, and at that price point, of course, you can't get it for that now. This is a 2020, but that was during COVID. They're not overly priced. That's one of the main reasons that people buy them. Don't do the whole thing, but you could see on the outside, it's a nice looking car. To me, all these SUVs look the same anyway. The other day I saw one of these. They came a Mazda SUV. They came a Toyota SUV. They came a Ford SUV. You could barely tell which one was which, right? So they all pretty much look the same, have the same amount of space. Now, the one thing about these, which is kind of an interesting story, is under the hood. 2-liter turbocharged engine. And yes, it is that famous 2-liter turbo that's notorious for having engine problems. And here's the weird thing. He bought it brand new. The first time he took it to the Volkswagen dealer, it was low on oil when he went to get the oil changed. Being from Serbia, he said, on this, I'm going to do it myself. So since then, he's been changing the oil himself using quality ingredients, and guess what? It doesn't burn any oil now. So that kind of tells you what kind of nonsense they're doing at these Volkswagen dealers. Who knows if they even changed the oil in the filter, whatever they did, because all he did was went away from them. He went and bought the real stuff, the liquid moly made in Germany, and now it doesn't burn oil. So it kind of makes me wonder, either they were using a cheap oil at the dealer and ripping them off, or perhaps they weren't even changing the oil at all and just adding something in. Who knows? All I know is he changes his own oil now. He's got 50,000 miles on this thing, and it doesn't burn oil anymore. So if you do own one of those, buy that oil. Use it, and you won't have any problems with it burning oil. And as I was explaining to him, I said, people in the United States, see, they're not like in Serbia. We have so much expendable income in the United States, and most Americans don't maintain anything. So a lot of these engines did blow. Ask any mechanic about the 2-liter turbos in Volkswagens and Audis, and they'll say, oh, they blow up all the time. But in Volkswagen's tiny defense, not the dealerships but the manufacturers, Americans don't change the oil enough. Whether it's the dealers telling them to change it or the dealers using the wrong oil, whatever. That's why the engines probably mainly burn up. He's taking care of his. Now it doesn't burn any oil at all. Realize that. You buy one of these things, change the oil yourself and buy the right oil like he did. Maybe you won't have any problems. Another reason the Europeans are really big on buying Volkswagens because most of their stuff's made in Europe. This one was made in Mexico. He's only got one gripe, and I'm going to figure that one out. I probably already figured it out. To a million places now. He's still got the tires that came from in the back, but he had these tires replaced, and ever since, he's heard noise. He took it to a bunch of places, and all said, we checked the alignment, the balancing, we checked everything. We don't know what's wrong. Well, I'll tell you what's wrong. Those people were idiots. You look at this tire. It is a hand-cooked tire that's made in Indonesia. It's a new tire. You can see it's got tons of tread. Nothing really wrong with it. But the problem is the type of tread design and the type of rubber. These are noisy tires. That's how they are. We'll hear it when we're driving down the road if I check the car a lot, but they're noisy tires. Some tires just make more noise. And a lot of times, especially Indonesian tires, they're not made with the quality that they say they do in the United States or Canada or France, where they do a pretty good job making tires. They cut a lot of corners, and the rubber just has more resonating noise. I don't know if they're harder, the tire tread's designed wrong. I'm not an engineer. I just know they're noisy tires when you're driving on the road. We'll hear that more when we road test. The hood look inside. He added the heated leather seats. He had that put on. Cat skin put in. He loves it. Cost him a couple grand. The whole car's been done over with leather now. If you close the door, sounds pretty solid. And look, You get a key, a real key, not a push start. I gotta give them a plus on that one. Maybe they haven't figured out how to make electronic fobs with no keys in Mexico. Maybe not that level tech, I don't know. But I like a key anyway. Good job in these leather seats. They're comfortable and they are heated now. Of course, it's got an electronic parking brake, which I hate, but what can you do? Everything's easy to use. Not buttons, but nice dials. I like the dials. You can turn the automatic start stuff off. I would always turn it off. You can also manually shift it. This is a discount car, so there's no paddle shifters. You have to shift it using this instead. Interesting thing about this is it's an 8-speed automatic transmission. It is not the older 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmissions that had problems on these. They gave up with it. So if you look at one of these used ones, see what it has. This 2020 come with this 8-speed actual automatic transmission with overdrive, not the 7-speed dual clutch. It is not a dual clutch. Those dual clutch ones cost a fortune to fix. They broke all the time. This is a much more reliable unit. So let's see if we got a good deal. Righty, right it. We'll do a standalone diagnosis. And check this out. This is what Swine's Volkswagen are. Vehicle diagnostic protection to unlock is required. So they want me to authorize and purchase the unlocks that I want. What a bunch of stinking swines. They won't let me access that information. Let's see if another scan tool works. We can get some information with this Nova scan tool. It's a good scan tool. It's more basic, but got no trouble codes. See if it'll do Volkswagen Enhanced. We shall soon find out. Doesn't have any problems though. We'll try an all module scan, doing the different gateways. An older scan tool doesn't lock itself out. We found that out. Start her up. We'll turn off the start stop. I hate that stuff, it's so annoying. And we'll look at some live data. Short-term fuel brake. It moves around a little, 5-0. It's gonna do that. We'll put it in gear, it'll make it more stabilized. Now that it's stabilized, it's at 0, that's good. We'll look at the rest of it. Fuel trim, look, it's 99.2, 100% is perfect, so it's only off 0.8%, so that's pretty good. It's only got 55,811 miles. He bought it new. 1,044 miles ago, somebody cleared diagnostic codes. Don't know what it was, but we still have quite a bit of information we can go through here. All of that's good. It's black. It's all good. Coolant temperature's normal. Exhaust rate flow. Mileage is real. It says 55,811. So let's take it for a ride. It's doing pretty good. Make sure the automatic start stop is off. I hate them. Kind of a weak backup camera. You can see it's bleached it out quite a bit. Kind of hard to see in the sun. It's not that great of a camera. I do have to say, 4-cylinder idles as smooth as can be. And it's warning you, start-stop system is deactivated. Yeah, because I can't stand it. It's stupid. Now we'll go over the big bump. This is a relatively small wheelbase car. So, you're going to find that they are fun to drive, but their ride, it's a relatively rough ride. We'll go over these bumps here. Okay. I feel them. I say it's just about as bad as my wife's 18-year-old Matrix, which is notorious for having a rough ride. I said, this is a regular 8-speed automatic hooked up to a 4-cylinder turbo, so should have some decent acceleration. Here we go. We'll step on the gas. Ooh, it started to peel out. It would have burnt rubber, but it's got ABS traction system, so it didn't. I gotta say, very nimble. The shifts, you can hear the shifts, but they're very smooth. It doesn't jerk or anything. You can hear it because it's a 4-cylinder engine with a turbo. So it's going to rev up and it's going to go through the gears. But I do have to say, it's tight. It feels tight. And this isn't a dual clutch transmission. This is a regular 8-speed automatic transmission. So you're not going to have those outrageously expensive repairs that the Volkswagen dual clutch transmissions are notorious for. Now, as I said, this Tiguan is Volkswagen's biggest seller. It's a combination of tiger and iguana in German. I mean, tiger iguana. I don't get that at all. I mean, Germans aren't that good at naming things, I guess. Tiger iguana. What the heck is that supposed to mean? But the main reason they're selling these is because the bigger version got worse gas mileage. This thing can get like 31 miles a gallon on a highway, and their big ones were much larger gas hogs, and that's why they're selling a bunch of these. He's zippy enough, but if you don't drive like I'm driving, you can get decent gas mileage in these things. And it is Volkswagen's biggest seller. Hear the tires? Boom, boom, boom. That's the noise he's hearing. It's the tires! Complain about a noise he heard and nobody could figure it out. Well, like I said, they're a bunch of idiots because I can hear. We'll let go of the gas. Hear that? Boom, 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 boom. It's the tires. They're notorious for making noise. There's nothing wrong with them. You can hear them. Boom. No big deal, but that's what the noise is. Okay, so what do I think of this thing? Well, I got two horrible things to say about Volkswagen. One, the evil swines locked my fancy scan tool out and are trying to ransom me for money to be able to use it, which is disgusting. Same kind of crap that Chrysler does, where they lock you out and you got to pay extra money to get that information. And two, Volkswagen was the one who sold them those crappy Indonesian tires, which, as you saw, are making the woo-woo noise that he hears. They're not dangerous, it's just kind of an annoying thing. But as for the car itself, it does have a real 8-speed automatic. I asked the owner, I said, did you buy it because of that? He said, I didn't even know what was in it. It was lucky, because if you would have gotten one of those older 7-speed dual clutch transmissions that are absolute rolling piles of garbage that cost $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 to replace, he wouldn't be happy when it wore out. This one works like a charm. He maintains this stuff rigorously with the right oil, like I showed early in the video, so he probably won't have any engine problems with it. Now, you know what you get with one of these. They are lower priced. You do have to maintain them correctly. But now that he learned how the Volkswagen dealers screwed him over and said it was burning oil until he changed his own, he's doing his own oil changes. So follow me, do that stuff yourself. Maybe not a bad one, but believe you me, do not buy one with a dual clutch transmission in it. If you're buying a used one, make sure it was maintained correctly. Have a mechanic like me check it out to see if it's an oil burner. Because if somebody brings me one of these used, I check it, I see the spark plugs are covered with oil, don't buy it, it's an oil burner, right? He's taking care of his, he bought it new, he didn't buy it used. For that kind of money, if you're a person who maintains cars, if you're the average American that doesn't maintain your car at all, do not buy one of these. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.